Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will share with you a very nice bag recipe that I've prepared with Spaghetti Tomorrow's paper yarn. We will only knit a flat rectangular piece and you can easily knit and prepare this bag in a day. It is really incredibly easy to make. It has such a fun construction that even those who are new to knitting can do it very easily. I am sure it has a very simple logic. I want to show you the model of the bag up close. Look, it is a very nice example. I used black and gray colors. You can use the colors you want. You can work in a single color or in colorful colors. This is completely up to your taste. I want to open the lock point and show you the inside. It is a very deep bag inside. It is a nice bag that you can use even without a hanger. Your phone, wallet, keys, glasses case, etc. will fit inside very easily. It is not a small bag. If you want, you can use it as a clutch bag at home, or you can use it as a crossbody bag by attaching a chain, or you can decorate your bag with different accessories. It's completely up to your taste, how you want to use it, how you want to see your bag. As I said, we will have prepared such a beautiful bag from a flat rectangular piece. You can find the description of our knitting in detail, how much yarn I used, its detailed measurements in the video. I hope it will be useful content. Before moving on to our detailed recipe, I would like to make a small request from you. You can subscribe to our channel for free. I would be really happy if you like the video and don't forget to leave your comments. Let's move on to our recipe. I use spaghetti oil paper yarn to knit my bag. I want to share the feature of the yarn with you right away. Its mixture is 100% paper. Its weight is 150 grams. It is between 250 meters long. Its knitting is really soft. I can say it is the softest paper yarn I knitted. By the way, I want to share a nice discount news from a special spaghetti place for my subscribers. You can complete your shopping with a 110 discount with the code GULKEN10 that you can use for your purchases of 100 teraliters and above from spaghettiar.com. I would like to thank the Spaghettiar family very much for this nice discount. Look, we will knit and prepare a flat rectangular piece for our bag. Now I want to give you the measurement of the piece. First of all, I want to give you the measurement. I used gray and black here. By the way, Spaghettiar's paper yarn has many color options. When you visit spaghettiar.com, you can also look at different color options. Here I used one ball of gray and one ball of black. Our gray yarn is just enough. In other words, one ball was just enough for this bag. Our yarn is left over from the black color. It is also useful to state this. Now I want to share the measurement of the longest side of my knitting with you as follows. Look, the longest side of our knitting is 53 centimeters. The short side is 30 centimeters. Look, the short side is also 30 centimeters. If you want to make this bag bigger or smaller, you can change the number of chains. Now, when we describe it, it will be easily understood. I worked our bag in 2 colors, but you can work in different colors or in 1 color if you want. This is completely up to your taste. I will immediately set our bag aside. I will be describing our model to you using the same spaghetti oil paper yarn with a different color paper yarn. My crochet hook number will be 3 millimeters. You can determine your own crochet hook number according to the tightness and looseness of your hand, the thinness and thickness of your yarn. By the way, the measurements I give may be a little small or a little big for you. Even if we use the same yarn and the same crochet hook number, this will change due to our knitting density and looseness. It is also useful to state this. I will immediately set my knitting aside and start the work with a chain. After locking our first chain, we pull our starting chains a little looser than the setting we knitted. Look, I really don't have any difficulty while knitting the paper rope of spaghetti oil. Those who work with paper rope should definitely try the paper rope of spaghetti oil. I especially recommend it, especially if you are selling with such paper rope. You should definitely try bag sales. Now, I have pulled some chains here, for example. I will describe it to you in a small model. Here I pulled 81 chains from my bag. I pulled 81 chains from my big bag here. You can build this model on the number of chains you want. The model is built directly on the chain. There is no specific number. You can create your bag by pulling your chains in the size you want. Now here I'm turning my chain, not the straight part, but the reverse part. Look, I am using the dotted lines on the back. This way we get a more regular look. Now I leave the last chain. I take off the stitch by inserting into the back dotted line of another chain. I have 2 stitches. I fill, I knit a single crochet. I take off the stitch by inserting into the back dotted line of another chain and knit a single crochet. Now we continue by inserting the back dotted lines of these chains and knitting our single crochets until the end of the row. Let's come to the end of the row quickly. Look, we have come to the end of our row. We knit our single crochet by inserting into the back dotted line of the last chain. The row is complete. I started with 81 chains here and I have obtained a total of 80 single crochets in my large piece. Now look, what I'm doing here is a loose one, not too tight like this. I pull my 2 chains and turn my knitting. I fill it to the beginning of my hook. I use the first space that comes. I am inserting into the first space that comes. I am removing a loop and pulling a long loop. It is important to extend the loop here. I have pulled my long loop. I am wrapping it around the head of my hook. I am inserting into another space. I am extending my loop again. You have 2, 4, or 5 loops in total. Look, I am filling in this way and I am collecting 5 of them at once without doing any different operations. I am refilling the head of the hook and inserting into the last space I inserted again. Do I remove the loop and extend it? Look, we will definitely extend our loops. I am filling. Do I insert into another space and extend the loop again? And here again you see I have 2, 4, 5 loops. I am filling, I am collecting 5 loops at once. I am wrapping them around the head of my hook again. I am inserting into the last space. I insert it again, removing the loop. And I am extending my loop. I am filling. Do I dip into another gap and remove the stitch and lengthen it? And again, does it make 2, 4, 5 stitches? I gather 5 in one go. If you think I knitted too fast, you can start the video or speed it up. Now look, we are inserting into the last stitch we looked at and lengthening our stitch. In other words, one of the important tricks of this model is to keep the stitches long. Do not make them short like this and long like this. We will collect the stitches. Now let's come to the end of the row in this way. Let's share with you how we do the end of the row. We have come to the end of our row. Look, we are filling the beginning of our hook. After collecting 5 stitches, we are inserting into the last space we inserted and taking out a stitch. We are filling. Look at the top space of the last tight stitch here. We are coming to our last tight stitch. It becomes another stitch. We insert into this and collect 5 stitches again. Look, we are filling and we have passed all of us through 5 stitches through all the loops. Now the model is finished. It is finished at the point where we will sink. See how we will finish here. We are not finishing. We are wrapping it around the beginning of the hook. We are sinking into the same space where we last sank and taking off the stitch. We have 3 stitches. We are filling. We are wrapping them together again. We are knitting them together. We are finishing with double crochet here. We had 2 chains at the beginning. We are finishing with a double crochet while going up. So these 2 points are our direct points. See if we miss these. We will increase the model or decrease it. In other words, we cannot obtain a regular knitting. It is necessary to pay attention to these. Now after finishing the point here with a double crochet, I am making turns without a chain. I am stretching my loop slightly like this. I am turning my knitting and look, I am sinking directly into the first space that comes. I took off the stitch. I am knitting a single crochet. Our model consists of a row of single crochets, a row of long stitches. Look, we have knitted our single crochet, inserting it into another space, a single crochet again. Now we will knit 1 single crochet into each space. You have started knitting this model for the first time. If I recommend you to remember when we started, we had knitted 80 single crochets for our bag, starting with 81 chains. We had obtained 80 single crochets. After setting up the model, look at the single crochets we will knit in the 3rd row. You will need to count the number of single crochets here. If you are hesitant about whether I made the number full or incomplete, if you have to obtain 80 single crochets again in this single crochet row as in the beginning, beginners can count like this. But I have another small piece of advice for you which I think is important, especially if you have started a new paperwork. Do not start with a large chain pattern. Work on a small model first. After understanding the end and beginning of the model and grasping the model, you can do this work in the sizes you want. Work on a small demo sample first, then you can adapt it to larger pieces. Your job will be easier. Now look, I am sinking into the last spaces here. The last space I will sink is important here. Now my 2 chains are visible. And look, when I turn it like this, the model I first started with, look, 2 chains in the top space of the model I first started with. Look here. We will not skip this point. 2 chains immediately like this, the point that looks like a spike. We will also insert into this point. Let's take our yarn, our loop, our hook again. Look, after 2 chains, the top gap is immediately visible like this. We will insert into the top of the last model here and insert into this one. Here we have 80 large pieces again, and we have obtained the tight needle. Now I will explain with a small example. What will we do now? We will repeat exactly the same as the second row. What will we do? We pull a couple of chains that are not too tight and turn our knitting. We insert into the first gap that comes by wrapping it to the beginning of our hook, remove our loop and extend it. We fill it. We extended our loop again by inserting into another gap. There are 5 loops. We fill it again. We collect 5 of them at once. We wrapped it. We inserted into the last gap, that is the last gap we knitted, and extended the loop. We fill it. We insert into another gap, extend the loop and collect 5 loops again. Look, knitting is very easy and incredibly enjoyable. Look like this. This pattern also ends very quickly. It is also worth mentioning that, since we are making long loops, the knitting grows very quickly. In other words, you can knit and prepare such a work very easily in one day. You will easily finish it in one day. It is like spaghetti. If you are working with paper yarn, it has a really soft knitting. Look, I am not cutting it right now. You will see until the end of the video. It knits very easily. Now we have come to the last point. I am filling. I am inserting the last space. I inserted again and extending the stitch. I am filling. Look, the last single crochet we knitted here, and the last single crochet looks like spike. We are removing the loop at this point and collecting 5 stitches at once. We are filling. We are also making the end with 1 double crochet. We are inserting in the same space and knitting 1 double crochet. While finishing 2 chains at the beginning, we are obtaining such a neat and orderly knitting by finishing this row with a double crochet. Now how are we going to do when changing color at this point? Now I continued until these 5 rows were made with my gray color. I knitted 5 rows in gray, 3 rows in black. I prepared my piece by knitting 5 rows of gray again. Now while changing colors here, we will pass the new color after the model, that is by knitting a tight stitch. We break our yarn during the model. The model always progresses like this. I am making a chain here. After I lengthen my stitch a little, there is no need to lengthen it too much. I cut my yarn, I am locking it like this. I am immediately taking my new color. I took my new color. I am creating a loop with a chain here immediately. Look, I created my loop. Now I had broken my yarn here. Look, during the model, we broke our yarn. Click, let's think as if we didn't break the yarn. Let's turn our knitting directly. Look, we are directly inserting into the first space that comes here. We have created a loop with a chain. We are inserting into the first space that comes with a new color. Look, I take the yarn in between. I take a loop from here. I have 2 loops. I fill it by taking the short yarn in between again. I pass my crochet yarn through the 2 loops. See, I have worked a single crochet directly into the first space with a single crochet. Then I will pull these yarns inward like this. Look, I am inserting into another space that comes, that is, while the single crochet row we made in the second row passes to the new color. We pass the single crochet row, we break the yarn. See, we start our new color with a single crochet immediately. Again, the exact same process we did in the second row. Look here, I will knit like this so that the model emerges. Look, where was our last space? The point that stands in the shape of a spike after 2 chains, 1, 2 chains. We insert the single crochet to the point that comes in the shape of a spike and knit it again. And we have the same number of single crochets. Then what do we do here again? Pull 1, 2 chains and play the knitting music. We turn, wrap, sink into the first space that comes, and extend our loops again to create our model. Look, it's a very, very easy example. We will change the color like this. When passing the new color, we change our color in the order of the tight stitches. Look, we are preparing our work like this. I hope the model is understandable. Now I want to continue showing it in the big piece. Look, we knitted our last tight stitch here. Here we have completed our knitting by knitting a total of 13 rows. Now look, if I did not break the stitch here, our row is complete by knitting single crochets. We started with single crochets as in the beginning. We finished our row with single crochets. Now after inserting the last single crochet, I am pulling a chain like this and waiting for the stitch here. Now look here, we will fold our knitting and give it the bag shape. Let's do this part like this. Let it be the part that appears in front, and let it be the part that will remain inside at this point, and let it be this way. Now from the edges, you can use different accessories for this bag, deeper and more exactly like this. It can be 0 to 0. The lid is completely up to your taste. Look, now let's adjust the edges and move on to assembling our bag from the edges. Now look, I have highlighted the points where I will connect these sides of my bag. How did I do these points? I left 20 single crochets. Look, I left 20 single crochets on this flap. I have tied the first end part coming from the 21st. Now I have made a chain like this at this point. I will break my thread here. After making a chain like this, I extend my thread enough and cut it. We will hide this thread later. I wanted to start connecting right away from this part. I am coming. Look, I'm first creating a loop with a chain like this. If you want, you can also sew with an etamine needle here. This is completely up to your taste. Now when we start from this end and go down, the opposite numbers will be equal. Again, on this side, when we start from here and combine, the numbers will be equal here. Now what am I doing like this? I'm going to stick it in here where the safety pin is. I'm inserting the top space where the hook is on the opposite side again, making a loop and knitting a single crochet. I will also take this short yarn in between and I will start with a single crochet directly. Look, I am inserting the top of another single crochet. I am inserting the top of the single crochet on the opposite piece and knitting a single crochet again. My place is now clear. I will pull this short yarn and see that there is no protrusion. I will pull it like this. Look, we have joined our bag together from the plain. Now I am inserting the opposite spaces and knitting a single crochet in this way. I am inserting the top of the single crochet here and knitting a single crochet again. I will proceed to the end part. I will break my yarn here. I will repeat the joining I made here exactly here, and then I will complete my knitting by hiding my short yarns and attaching my bag accessories. We have completed our bag by attaching it with our accessories. You can use any accessories you want. If you do not use a chain, you can also use it directly as a clutch bag. Then it is really beautiful. Since I wanted to use it crosswise, I attached a long chain like this. This is completely up to your taste. You can even create locking points or chains with its own rope. Our recipe was like this. I hope you like it and try it. I wish ease to those who will do it in advance. Don't forget to like our video, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye until we see you in the next video.